Dennis Skinner.
When does the Prime Minister expect to be cross-examined by the Leveson inquiry? Doesn't he agree that the British people deserve an answer as to why he appointed one of Murdoch's top lieutenants, Andy Coulson, to the heart of the British government?
I will be delighted to appear at the Leveson inquiry whenever I'm invited, and I'm sure other politicians will have exactly the same view, and I will answer all the questions when that happens. It's good to see the honourable gentleman on such good form. I often say to my children, no need to go to the National History Museum to see a dinosaur. Come to the House of Commons at about 12:30.
Order! Statements! Order! Point of order, Mr. Paul Flynn.
One of the areas of parliamentary life, the manners of this chamber, that has improved in recent years is it's now completely unacceptable for one member to criticise another member on the basis of gender, on the basis of race, ethnicity or disability. The most underrepresented group in this parliament are the septuagenarians. Today we heard what I believe many of us thought was a gratuitous and entirely offensive insult to a greatly respected honourable member, made entirely because of his age. Isn't it right that ageist discriminatory remarks should be outlawed in the same as other discriminatory remarks are?
I will take the further to that point of order, and then I will come back on the matter. Point of order, Mr. Brown Donohoe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it not also the case that Erskine May makes it very clear that no member of Parliament should criticise another one and call them a name that relates to an animal and differ in these circumstances? Is it not only right that then the Prime Minister should come back to his place and apologise to the member for Bolsover?
Well, I'm grateful to the... Is it on the same matter? On the same matter, I must, of course, listen to a point of order from Mr. David Winnick.
That those of us of a certain age group should not be seen as the new persecuted minority.
And is it on the same matter? Gosh, a vintage quartet indeed. Point of order from... and a very high-quality vintage. Point of order, Mr. Mark Pritchard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You've seen the grey hairs as well, on my head, of course. I just wonder, Mr. Speaker, I seek your guidance on whether this Parliament would be better and this House of Commons would be better with more or less humour.
Well, I'm always in favour of humour, but just as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, humour is a matter of subjective judgment. Sometimes people are funny, sometimes they think they're funny, sometimes they think they're funny deliberately when they're not, sometimes they don't realise they are funny when they are. There are all sorts of different permutations. Now, I think it would be unwise for me to offer a view as to the category into which the matter of current discussion happens to fall, but I've never had any doubt about the honourable gentleman's well-developed and furnished sense of humour. Let me come back to the point from the honourable gentleman, the member for Walsall North. I agree that septuagenarians should not become a persecuted minority. The honourable gentleman is sometimes in a minority, and a principled minority, on a range of matters, and has been throughout his long parliamentary career. All I would say is I don't think the honourable gentleman himself is persecuted, certainly not by me, and I think anybody trying to persecute the honourable gentleman should frankly give up the unequal struggle, because that person's not going to get anywhere with the honourable member for Walsall North. As to the point of order from the honourable gentleman from Central Ayrshire, I think I'm right in saying that Erskine May no longer contains the prohibition to which the honourable gentleman refers, and I think that certainly at one time or another there has been a prohibition on or presumption against reference to an existing animal. As far as the honourable gentleman, the member for Newport, is concerned, I think what I would say is that it's very difficult for me to interpret the mindset of another honourable or right honourable member, be that a newly arrived member or a very senior member or the most senior member of the government. Sometimes I think an observation might be made with reference to perhaps a past attitude, style or conduct, and I don't think I want to get into the issue of what was said today. I might want to reflect on it. All I would say is that I share the honourable gentleman's absolute disapproval of sexism, racism, ageism and other forms of discrimination. And the honourable gentleman's track record on that matter, at any rate, speaks for itself over a very long period.